Thank you for downloading these free MP3 files of Dr. J. Vernon McGee's Through the Bible radio program. We're glad to have you studying the Word with us. If you have a heart to share Dr. McGee's teaching to help bring the whole Word to the whole world, we encourage you to share these messages with others, as long as they're kept free of charge, just as we've provided them to you. Dr. McGee's teaching is copyrighted by the Through the Bible Radio Network, so we'd like to remind you that the sale or broadcast of these programs without the express written consent of Through the Bible is prohibited. We greatly appreciate your prayers and financial support of this important worldwide ministry. May God bless you as you study and share His Word.
Now today we come to Malachi. That's the last book in the Old Testament. And Malachi brings down the curtain on the Old Testament. He is the last voice of the Old Testament. And he's the last in a long succession of prophets who foretold the coming of the Messiah. In fact, you have to go back 1,000 years, and you find that down through the centuries, God was increasing the tempo of telling the people about the coming of the Messiah. And the last voice is this man Malachi. I like to think of him as sort of a radio announcer for the Lord, and we'll see why I say that in a moment. And it's as if he is saying, the next voice you will hear is John the Baptist in 400 years. Well, 400 years is a long time to wait for station identification. Malachi, though, is a very interesting person, though actually we know nothing about him. We're going to find out that he has a wonderful sense of humor. I don't think you can be a prophet or a preacher without a sense of humor. And if you haven't found humor in the Bible, my friend, you are not reading it right. But you find that this man here, in a very definite way, was a messenger. In fact, his name, Malachi, means my messenger. The Septuagint gives its meaning as angel. An angel was a messenger. That was the title. And sometimes an angel could be human or divine. And we, of course, have associated angels with supernatural creatures, and probably rightly so. But an angel was a messenger, and the name Malachi means messenger. In fact, there have been a few church fathers that actually thought that he was an angel, that an angel wrote this, but there's no reason to make that kind of a statement, to take that position. And, of course, at the opposite extreme, you have the liberal school of higher criticism that claims that the book was originally anonymous and that Malachi just means messenger and it wasn't a name at all. Well, they always come up with something like that, and you don't need to take that extreme position at all. I think that it's very easy to make this statement, Malachi was his name. And our information on him, I think, is limited as it is regarding angels. But others have suggested that he was an angel, and others that this is an anonymous book. I don't think it would be anonymous. If it was, it would be the only book on prophecy that we have that's anonymous. And I do not think that Malachi would want to be the exception to the rule, especially since he wrote last. There's a reason why we don't know too much about him. He's a messenger, God's messenger, with a message. And frankly, we don't need to know about the messenger. The Western Union boy that rings your doorbell at 1 o'clock in the morning with a very important message for you when you go to the door. You don't have the boy begin and tell you, my ancestors came over on the Mayflower, and I'd like to tell you about my ancestors and myself. You don't care about the Western Union boys' ancestors. You don't care whether they came over on the Mayflower, especially at 1 o'clock in the morning. You're not interested in that. In fact, the matter is you don't even get his name. The important thing is the message that he gives. Well, Malachi was a messenger, and we don't have his name. Actually, you have that same method used by the Spirit of God in the Gospel of Mark. You see, all four Gospels present Christ in a different way. Matthew presents him as the king. Well, if he's the king, he'll have to be in the line of David. That's the way the Gospel of Matthew opens, the book of the generation of Jesus Christ, son of David. That's the important thing, that he's the son of David, because he's presenting him as the king. Well, when you come to the Gospel of Mark, which presents him as the servant of God, why, you're not concerned. At least Mark's not concerned about giving us his genealogy, and there's none there. The important thing about the servant is, can he get the job done? That's the thing that you want from anyone that comes into the place of service for you. Can he get the job done? And Mark shows that the Lord Jesus could get the job done, by the way, and did get it done. So that we have here in Malachi this method that is used. Now, the time that he wrote, and there's some difference of opinion here. It's the belief of conservative scholars today that he came in the last part of the 5th century, and it would be near 397, but probably much earlier or some earlier than that. The important thing is that Malachi was the prophet at the time of Nehemiah, as Haggai and Zechariah were the prophets at the time of Ezra and Zerubbabel and Joshua. So that we have here this man Malachi, he concluded the prophets as Nehemiah concluded the historical books that we have. And he probably prophesied during the time of Nehemiah's governorship or immediately after it. It was at that particular time.